So I've told this spiel a bunch of times to a bunch of friends, to my doctor, to my family. But the story of how I got sick, it all started on Sunday, March 15th. When I went to bed with a bit of a sore throat. And it was kind of just that feeling where you knew you were going to wake up feeling sick.
He was coughing a lot. He was really under the weather. And by this time, it seemed like New York City was having some, major problems with the virus spreading.
So Monday I woke up feeling especially rough. I'd been coughing a bit beforehand, but I just assumed it was chronic.
When he first got it, I said, I said to myself, he gets sick a lot. He has a lot of bronchial things. I said to myself, there's a small chance he has it.
Monday night into Tuesday morning, I was getting cold sweats and chills and like all the feverish symptoms. My temperature never exceeded 100 degrees, actually, but my resting body temperature is also fairly low.
Mayor de Blasio was, sending signals that he was going to shut the city down. So if Dylan was really sick, I didn't want him to be alone there, in the city.
My mom especially and my dad were insisting that I come home regardless of my symptoms. They said, we'll just quarantine you in the basement. We don't have to go anywhere near you. Just like come home and we'll nurse you back to health.
I set him up a whole futon downstairs and a light and everything, tissues and everything I thought he'd need prior to him coming home because I wanted to avoid that space at all cost.
So on St. Patrick's Day, on Tuesday, early, I picked him up in the city. He looked pretty bad when he came down, and he was wearing a mask, and he sat in the back seat. And I just drove home.
I couldn't focus on anything. I was especially exhausted. My cough was especially bad, and the shortness of breath was especially prominent. Aside from that, a load of fun gastrointestinal issues. I was throwing up. I threw up a couple times, which was surprising.
Dylan stayed in the basement that day, Tuesday, and we checked on him.
He seemed fairly ill. I mean, he wasn't, for a couple of days there, I was concerned. I mean, thank God he didn't have to be hospitalized. It's hard. It's wiping down the whole house every 5 minutes, every doorknob you touch. It's always in the back of your mind, are we going to get it? I have lupus, and, my immune system is compromised, and I wonder, am I going to be a victim? So I'm just being really precautious.
Wednesdays when I went to the doctor and I got my test, and my doctor said there was a lot of inflammation in my lungs, but was really downplaying my symptoms. I had to bully him into giving me a test despite not having the fever above 100.4 degrees.
I made him force the guy to give him a corona test. They're hard to come by. No one's offering them. I called his local doctor here. He didn't even want to see him. No, everyone was paranoid about getting the virus. We treated it as if it was positive, and he was sent to the basement, and that's where he's been.
A normal day is just roll out of bed, sit in the couch for most of the day. I have conference calls. I write code from like 9 to 5. After that, a lot of music stuff that I've been working on, getting very into music production with Logic Pro, catching up on a lot of video games lately too. I'm playing a lot of Call of Duty. I go outside sometimes because we have a big enough yard that I could like take the mask off and breathe in like some fresh air and stuff. Whenever I go upstairs, I have to put a mask on. I had gloves for a bit, but then I transitioned to just like touching things with my bare hands and then immediately like wiping everything I touch down. Go to the bathroom, come out, I put this like Clorox on a paper towel. I wipe down both handles, the toilet handle, the toilet seat, cold faucet on the sink. Just wipe down all the things I touch. It's like I have a system now. And then I just like go back down. I don't spend like any extra time upstairs.
I put on a mask and gloves and open the basement door and yell down to him. And I've been leaving his meals on the top step.
Dylan, lunch.
I get the drink.
My lovely mother and sister make dinner every night, and I'm served a plate on the top step of the basement, and I take it and I eat it, and I FaceTime.
We put him at the table with us, and he, you know, at least has someone to talk to while he's eating.
On March 26th, we found out the results that he had it.
When I received my diagnosis, I thought to myself, I know, yeah, I knew this was coming. I had the symptoms. I've already been through the worst of it. I got my results back 9 days later, at which point I was becoming asymptomatic.
Once he tested positive, I mean, I was like, then it was too late. You know, we were quarantining ourselves from him, but I mean, as careful as we are, I can't believe if you're in the same house with someone, even if they're in another room, you know, almost all the time, that there's still a chance to get it.
If no one in my family starts to feel sick in the coming days, we're gonna have exceeded like the 14-day mark. So that'll be good. That'll be a relief.
My concern is I want to make sure he's over it before letting him loose again, you know, and I don't think they do retesting. They didn't have enough tests. I mean, they're lucky. He's lucky he got this test. They were hesitant. So I think I'll be wearing a mask for a long time, you know, and gloves and, you know.
So hopefully we're going to look to bring him back upstairs and in the house, but we're all still quarantined.
In terms of my own health, I'm very much like at peace because I truly feel fine now. My symptoms had subsided a lot. My cough lasted a while, and my stomach issues lasted a while. Like those two lasted the longest. I think I had a pretty ideal case where just had it kind of rough for a few days and then like overcame it.
Tonight's a special night. Dylan is being unquarantined. He will be joining us for dinner tonight. It's been about 21 days, I believe, something like that. Welcome, Dylan, to our your first dinner out of the basement.
You're
About
de-quarantined.
20 days.
Wow. I honestly was starting to forget I was like real.
I have a tool over here.
Wow, man. I feel like I have been spawned back into like existence. I'm like one with reality again, you know. The basement isn't just like my entire world anymore.
We open it up.